Good afternoon. I'm County Executive Ken Jenkins, and today is Wednesday, April 9th, 2025, and we are here at the Department of Emergency Services Support Services building here in the Grasslands campus in Valhalla, and we are going to be signing the battery energy storage system bill that was passed by our County Board of Legislators at the last meeting. So I'm pleased to be here with all of you as we sign this very important piece of legislation for the battery energy storage systems. I proposed this legislation back in January, right here, with the goal of enhancing the oversight and overall safety of these facilities. This legislation does that by establishing clear notification requirements for municipalities regarding new installations or modifications to existing systems in Westchester County. The goal of this legislation is simple but vital. This legislation is about equipping our emergency responders with the information they need before an incident happens so that they can plan, prepare, and respond efficiently. This new law will prevent tragedies by enhancing safety for residents and first responders, improve communication between the county and the municipalities, ensure the county has up-to-date records of any new BESS installations or modifications of existing systems, better coordinate the planning and safety efforts. This legislation underscores Westchester County's commitment to balancing the expansion of renewable energy infrastructure with the highest safety and planning standards. By instituting these notification requirements, we aim to ensure that battery energy storage systems are responsibly integrated into communities while safeguarding residents and first responders. The decisions about where or whether battery energy storage system facilities will be established is not the responsibility of the county, it's the responsibility of each local municipality. Let me be clear, this legislation does not usurp that responsibility at the local level. What this legislation does do, however, is ensure that we're all on the same page. It ensures that we collectively have an awareness when a battery energy storage system facility are proposed, modified, or expanded anywhere in Westchester. It ensures that our residents and first responders are being aware of these proposals, not only in their own communities, but anywhere they're being considered in neighboring communities. I'm grateful to the Westchester County Board of Legislators for its partnership on this issue and for passing this legislation, and we're going to be proud to sign that into law today. But let me turn first to the chairman of the Westchester County Board of Legislators, Vedat Gashi, and with Legislator Jewel Williams-Johnson. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, County Executive Jenkins. Again, I'm Vedat Gashi, Chair of the Board of Legislators, and I'm joined by Jewel Williams-Johnson here. And a lot of my colleagues would have loved to have been here because there's overwhelming support among the board for this bill. Like, I'm not going to say all good ideas, but maybe the best ideas. They come from the community, they come from the practitioners, the people that are actually doing this. And when first responders reached out and explained how they were, how there was a danger and how this is directly impacting their work, we responded. I thank County Executive Jenkins for pushing it through as quickly as possible, but this is a recognition of the fact that this technology poses a unique threat. It's a different and increased danger for the communities and for the first responders, the people that are going to have to go out there and respond to it. Our first step to combating that, to addressing that, is knowing where they are, having an inventory, and allowing them to be properly prepared for the instances where they encounter them. It is something that was easy for me and my colleagues to support. And as County Executive Jenkins mentioned, whether or not they can remain in a municipality or community as a local authority that remains a local authority, we're going to do what we can here in the county to make sure that our first responders are safe and our community is safe. And again, thank you to County Executive Jenkins. Thank you to all my colleagues on the board who unanimously supported and passed this bill. And I would say also, this isn't the last item that we're going to be working on. This is an item that we're going to continue to look at because health, safety, and well-being of our constituents of this county is our first priority. Thank you again.
Well, thank you, Chairman Gashi, and certainly Legislator Jewel Williams-Johnson and all of your colleagues, because this was a unanimously endorsed piece of legislation by all 17 legislators. And again, we thank everyone for doing that. At this time, we're going to ask the Commissioner for Emergency Services, Susan Spear, to come up and give her thoughts. Commissioner.
Good afternoon. Thank you, County Executive Jenkins, Deputy County Executive Wishney, Director of Operations Joan McDonald, and all of the members of the Board of Legislators for recognizing the unique public safety needs of battery energy storage systems and enacting this legislation. It will help to protect the safety of our local first responders and the public by requiring facility-specific information be provided to the Department of Emergency Services and included in our emergency response and dispatch systems. This new legislation was recommended by the County Fire Advisory Board, represented here today by its Vice Chairman, John Marshall, who is also our Deputy Fire Coordinator. And due to the challenges that always come with emerging technologies, and in this case, commercial battery energy storage systems, I also want to give a big thank you to Department of Emergency Services, Special Operations Chief Stiller, and Deputy Chief Johnson, who were truly instrumental in developing this legislation and are our county experts and tremendous resources to all of the communities in the county. The goal of this legislation is, as the county executive said, simple but vital. It's to ensure that the Department of Emergency Services has critical information about all new and existing BESS facilities throughout Westchester. This is about equipping our emergency responders with the information they need before an incident happens so they can plan, prepare, and respond effectively. DES manages the fire and EMS mutual aid plans for the county, and this is part of that activity. Every BESS site is different. Chemistry, size, layout, power output, shut-off procedures, etc. And that variability makes pre-planning essential. Location-specific information will be included in our 911 dispatch system so that first responders will know what is on site before they respond to an incident and they know what they're walking into. This new battery law is modeled after an existing law which requires reporting of on-site hazardous materials information. Since battery technologies are not included in that existing law, Westchester County took a leadership role to make sure we applied the same principle to battery facilities. This law takes both a proactive and a collaborative step forward. It has no impact on the local community decisions on whether or where to site such facilities. Those decisions remain with the municipality. This county action simply and vitally make sure that first responders receive sufficient information if they are dispatched to an incident at a battery facility. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. And again, we just want to continue to highlight that what the battery energy storage systems legislation will do is to make sure that our first responders are able to develop those kind of plans. They know what they're walking into, but more importantly, they'll be able to train and be able to have a plan in place in the unlikely event that something happens at that location. And again, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and all of our first responders continually train all the time for all these various scenarios, and this is just another example of their leadership to be able to respond appropriately in those emergency situations. At this time, I'm going to ask the Department of Emergency Services Chief of Special Operations, Doug Stiller, to come up and give his thoughts.
Good afternoon. So as the end user, per se, of this, where I'm responding out to calls, dealing with these battery energy storage systems to the local municipalities, to the fire departments, police departments, and EMS agencies out there when they're having to deal with this, having the information in my hands to be able to do pre-planning for a countywide response plan, but also for my own information with my county hazardous materials team. This is going to give us the best information possible so that we can know how to deal with these systems on a proper basis and to mitigate the incident as best as we can. So that's one area that was missing, and as the commissioner said, the General Municipal Law 209U has been on the books for 45 years, and that's helped us tremendously over these decades to plan for hazardous materials, and this was an area that was missing, and we've been the forefront of this to get ahead of the issue that we're facing with this new technology. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chief. At this time, we're going to ask the Westchester County Fire Advisory Board Vice Chair, John Marshall, to come up and give his thoughts and share his thoughts around the battery energy storage system legislation. John.
Good afternoon. Thank you to County Executive Jenkins, your board, your deputy, and your chairman for endorsing this critical information guideline. Accountability, location services, and pre-planning is what this will enable the emergency services. This will enable us to program the information into our CAD system so that first responders know what they are responding to. This will work for EMS as well as fire and police. And most importantly, it will ensure safety for us and the public. Thank you to Commissioner Spear for endorsing this and moving forward with it in the right direction. I know that in the future, this will provide us with the information needed and will ensure the safety of the first responders. Thank you.
Again, trying to make sure that we're echoing the reality that this work doesn't happen alone, that all of our fire professionals that are here, fire professionals, whether they're career or firefighter, a career or volunteer, are here as well. We have representatives from all of our fire services, whether our emergency services, our EMS services, and again, that's to be able to give the input through Commissioner Spear and taking that information from both Doug Stiller and John Martin to be able to work this legislation that's going to provide this valuable service that all of our local municipalities will be able to take advantage of. So first, our first responders will be prepared to be able to address whatever scenarios that are in those particular locations, because as the Commissioner pointed out, the battery chemistry is different, et cetera. And again, by having that uniform understanding of what's there, then we can prepare on what needs to be done. And the local municipalities, while they're evaluating these items, as John Martin just pointed out, could be able to have that level of accountability to ensure that everything is in place before a project is approved, where someone looks at something and just says something could be done as of right. This is very, very challenging with all the different kinds of chemistries and making sure that every resident can be safe, but more importantly, the people that are going in those first doors to be able to make sure our first responders are being able to be as safe as possible and understand what they're walking into when they're being dispatched to these various locations. To close things out this afternoon, I'm going to ask Deputy County Executive Richard Wishney to come up, but more importantly, because of all of his experience here in the Department of Emergency Services, but as our Deputy County Executive leading those efforts and being able to talk both on the legislative side as a legislator from the Board of Legislators at one point in time, as well as all of his emergency services background, as well as his leadership in every angle as emergency services happens. With that, let me turn over to the Deputy County Executive to close things out. Richard.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Good afternoon. It's an honor to be standing here with all of the people behind us that are very concerned about this technology, and rightfully so. Over the last few years in New York City, here in Westchester, and around the country, we've seen how these battery fires can get out of control and be very, very difficult to put out. We've had incidents with batteries that operate bicycles and scooters and household items, and people store them in their homes. We've seen tragedy throughout New York State with regard to these batteries. Now, the technology will change, it'll get better, and down the road, we'll know that they're safer than they are today. But everyone at home should understand that the reaction to these battery storage facilities is about life and death safety, not only of the public, but most importantly, to the people that respond at the time of an emergency. They're all represented by the people we have here today. We're very fortunate here in Westchester County to have a staff of outstanding professionals who have been working extremely hard, gathering information, studying this issue, and making sure that we do everything that we can within our power to protect the public and our first responders. So with that, I want to thank the county executive, the chairman of the Board of Legislators, all of the legislators who unanimously endorsed this legislation to help protect those that protect them.
Thank you, Deputy County Executive Richard Wishney. And with that, let us go and sign this piece of legislation to get it enacted right now. So we're going to pop over. Oh, wait, we got. So this is local law. This is local law number 2025-22, which was passed by the County Board of Legislators by 17 votes for, 0 votes against on the 24th day of March, 2025. And today is the 9th. Let's see if we can make enough pens happen here today for all of our speakers today. There was no school for this, by the way. Get the pens out. And, all right. And, okay. Thank you so much. And now this law has been enacted. Thank you so much. Let us hand out, Jewel, look up. So Jewel will have one in her hand. We'll have one to our commissioner, one to John John Marshall, Doug Stiller, our Deputy County Executive,
Thank you, sir.
and the Chairman of the Board of Legislators.
Spear?
She has one.
Oh, she has one. Oh, okay. Maybe she needs two.
With that, thank you so much for watching Westchester. I'm County Executive Ken Jenkins. Thank you so much for watching. And again, this battery energy storage system law is now enacted and making sure that all of those facilities, whether they are new or existing, are reported in to the Department of Emergency Services, working with all of these fine folks around us to make sure our first responders are safe. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.